Hi everyone and welcome. Today I want to talk about spoilboards. If you had watched my previous videos you would have seen a couple of months ago I repaired my spoilboard and then put a new surface on it and levelled it. Well, since then it's done quite a lot of work, and what I want to show you is what it looks like now. I've only just finished cutting this project here. As you can see, I've actually cut through each of these through to the surface of the table. You can see there the finished edge. But the really interesting thing isn't these, but it's actually the tabletop. Since I last levelled this table, I've cut 2 large rabbets, 6 corner brace, this is for shelves, 22 Easter eggs, 50 tile frames, several kit set clamp racks, and they're just the things I can remember. If you take a close look at the table, these are the worst battle scars it's had, and they can't be more than about 0.2 of a millimetre deep. Most people's spoilboards by now would look like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So what's the secret to keeping a spoilboard unspoiled? Those of you who have watched previous videos of mine will have seen this little device, and it's simply a tool height setter. Well, that's not it. In fact, I haven't even touched that this year. I only ever now use this for setting V-bits, because it's the only effective way of doing it, and if I want to change a cutter and get its height identical to the one I'm replacing. The tools I'm using are a lot more sophisticated than that. Best of all, we've all got them and they're free. The first thing to look at is our stock. In this case, it's a piece of 12mm plywood. Now, the first thing to notice is that the 12mm is only a nominal measurement. This is not actually 12mm. When I put the calipers on it, I find it's 12.2. But if I was to check it at another point on the piece of stock, I would probably find it's 12.5 or even more, or maybe less. So when it comes to setting cutter height, setting a cutter to the top of the material is not much good, because if I tell it I want to cut 12mm through this piece of wood, it won't make it all the way through. So what a lot of people do is they say, oh, it's 12mm, I'll cut 13mm through it, and then I'm guaranteed to cut through. Well, that's great, but now I'm cutting through into my spoilboard and basically spoiling it. So the real trick is, when it comes to setting these cutters, is to set it off the tabletop. So what I do is I bring the cutter to a clear piece of tabletop, and then I slowly drop the height of the cutter, and as it gets close to the tabletop I turn the cutter looking at the very bottom, and by getting the cutter so that light comes through and under the cutter, I can see when the tips of it are just touching or just fractionally above the tabletop, like that. That is very, very close to the tabletop. I can just see light and no more. Next I come over to Mach 3 and I just enter a value of -12, which is the nominal value that I've entered in my CAD software for the thickness of my material. So if you want to cut pieces out of stock material without damaging your spoilboard, but cut all the way through, then set the cutter as I've done, from the table. Tell your CAD software the nominal thickness of your material and set your cutter to that nominal thickness on the table surface. If you're cutting a pocket into the material and the pocket depth is critical, then set the cutter at the top of the material. do a separate tool path, even if you're using the same tool, when it comes to cutting it out, give the tool a different number. That'll force the software, or Mach 3, to stop and force you to change cutters. At that stage, re-zero the cutter, this time to the table surface, and away you go. That way you can cut accurate pockets at the top and accurately cut through your material without damaging your spoilboard. Well, I hope that's been useful to you, and hopefully it'll help you prolong the life of your spoilboard. I've got some more Easter projects to cut out, so I'll leave you guys to it. Cheers.